Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by an absolute living legend in Bob Arum. Bob, how are you?
Good, terrific. I mean, I'm really delighted to be here, to be at this press conference, but particularly to be in this stadium, which 2 weeks ago was the place of the greatest victory for my football team in the last 10 years.
How are they 5-1, Bob? Maybe you can tell us, because I've watched all the games this season, and 5-1 seems like it flatters the Giants, perhaps. Don't want to offend you.
I think great coaching, getting the team together, playing over their heads, but playing unified, are able to produce the results that they've been producing. I mean, it's as simple as that, because if you look at talent, sheer talent, position for position with other teams, they really come in second. But, I mean, that's why when you're dealing with professional athletes, like, for example, this Tyson Chisora fight, Chisora is very, very dangerous because he punches like a mule, and he always is in a fight because of his punching power.
We've seen Saquon Barkley come back this year, make a real impact. He's head of the race for Comeback Player of the Year, in fact. Can we see something similar from Chisora? Can we see a rejuvenation in this fight?
Well, I wouldn't, I hope not, but I wouldn't, write it off as being impossible. I mean, when you're dealing with world-class athletes, they at times give performances that are really signature kind of performances. But you're quite about Saquon Barkley. I mean, he's a tremendous athlete. He's having a tremendous year after a couple of down years with injury. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a dangerous fight for Tyson Fury. But again, Fury wants to keep busy. He thinks that if he isn't busy, it will diminish his chances when he goes in the ring with Usyk.
And we've got to fill, we haven't, but you and Frank have got to fill this huge, amazing stadium. It's a fight that we've seen a few years ago, or maybe more than a few, where Tyson was completely dominant. As a promoter, how do you sell this to the wider public?
Well, you don't have to sell anything, because one thing Fury is facing is a Chisora who's a tremendous puncher and can give anybody a very, very rough time. Look, just relatively recently, Chisora fought Usyk, and it was life and death, and Usyk won. So when Usyk got in with Joshua, people said, well, Usyk doesn't have a chance. Look how he struggled with Chisora. But Usyk handled Joshua a lot easier both times than he did Chisora. So these are athletes at the top level, and anything can happen.
From your point of view, being involved in the negotiations to an extent, what's the key reason why the Joshua fight wasn't able to come together for December?
Well, there's one reason, Eddie Hearn, because Joshua wanted the fight, Fury wanted the fight, and once they agreed on a 60-40 split, there was no reason for the fight not to be made. You sit in a room, and in 1 hour, any little detail can be sorted out. But Eddie slow-played it because he didn't want to risk Joshua losing another fight to Fury.
Do you think we'll still see that fight in the future?
I would hope so. But, who knows? Who knows what evil lurks in the heart of men? You remember that shadow? Yeah. But again, I would think the fight I'm looking forward to is Chisora. That's going to be a good fight. And he gets by Chisora. And then Usyk is for a unification fight is huge. And down the road, we can talk maybe about a Joshua fight. I would like to see Joshua fight Wilder. Well, that would be a really interesting fight. But again, Wilder is very, very dangerous. I mean, the only heavyweight around, it looks like, who can handle Wilder is Tyson Fury.
Now, while we're lucky enough to have you here, just tell us about the future for Shakur Stevenson, who's already a multi-weight world champion, incredible talent. Is he moving up permanently to 135? Are we going to see those big fights we want to see for him?
Yeah, he's good. Shakur is moving up to 135, a division that's loaded with talent. I think the next big fight that we'll have, assuming Lomachenko gets by next Saturday, the 29th, in New York, I want to make Lomachenko and Haney and have the winner fight Shakur Stevenson.
You're blessed with having, well, not blessed, you've worked hard to do it, to have this raft of lightweight talent. It must be great. And is there any concerns about matching them together? Because obviously someone has to lose.
Someone has to lose, but for me, it's a blessing because I'm giving the fights, great competitive fight. The key to making boxing popular, which I think somebody like Frank and Queensberry have done here in the UK, is making sure that you're making competitive fights, important competitive fight, because people don't want to see walkovers.
Tell us 3 rising stars from the top-ranked stable that we should all be looking out for.
Well, if you go to heavyweight division, Jared Anderson will be fighting December 10th in Madison Square Garden against a top 15 heavyweight. You know, we're going to be just beginning to make his move. It's like training a racehorse, right? I think you got to watch this lightweight that we have. Keyshawn Davis is really something really special. And we have so many really good guys. Our American Olympic team, we signed everybody. But the guy that I'm most interested in is Ali's grandson, Nico Ali. And, you know, I'll be talking to Frank about having him come over here to fight maybe in January on the Beterbiev yard card that we'll be doing the last week in January.
And just finally, we saw recently in the Eubank Jr. Conor Benn postponement, once again, a problem with PEDs in boxing. What can we do? What would you like to see change in that area?
No, I think I was totally confused. In the United States, if you do VADA testing, the tests go to the commission. If there's a positive test, the commission then doesn't allow the fight to go on. I don't know what the story was with the British board, and I don't know why they waited until a newspaper announced that there was a positive test. Something is wrong there. But again, I'm not to say. I'm not from here. I mean, I just know in the United States, it would be, in most jurisdictions, treated differently.
How happy are you with how that system works and operates in the US?
Well, you know, you're never completely happy, but let's say in Nevada, where I'm from, it works very, very well. In some other places where they're afraid to lose a fight, they dissemble and allow the fight to go on. That's not good for the sport. If you test positive, you should not be permitted to fight. Now, people say, and I'm being a hypocrite because one of my fighters, Oscar Valdez, tested positive for a substance, but it was a substance that WADA said was only prohibited in competition, not outside of competition. So for me, it wasn't an illegal substance. But again, we have a lot of work to be done, like everybody does, as far as this whole drug problem.
Bob, it's an absolute honor. Can't wait to see the fight. And yeah, hopefully we see you again on Fight Week.
Well, you will. I'll be here.